Hi guys, this is Prakash, and today we will see the concepts of cloud computing. So before we start, I wanted to define what is computing. Uh, do you guys know what is computing? As for the definition, you can see computing is nothing but using or operating the network of computers. So it depends on how we utilize that, and in the same computing we will have a number of servers like compute. That means any number of servers, either Windows based or Linux based or Mac OS. Either we use our for personal purpose or to host an application or to provide internet or any kind of way if you wanted to use, we must need the servers. That is why we call the first concept is compute. Compute means it will provide the necessary servers for our use case. So, and if you go for any kind of computing, either cloud-based computing or on-premise computing or hybrid computing, these are the main three stages: compute, storage, network. So, as for the definition of computing, it is like using of multiple computers for for the purpose of some activity. So the main components called compute, storage, network. Compute means servers, storage means whatever the data which is generated out of the server, we wanted to store in some place, either it in a database or file system. That I term as storage. And the other one is network. To maintain the communication, to maintain the proper connectivity, we definitely need network. That is what I term as connectivity. So either you do the cloud computing or on-premise cloud computing or hybrid computing. These are the main three stages. So in the previous sessions related to DevOps, what we discussed is we have seen the main stages in DevOps, that is code, build, deploy. Why I mentioned code, build, deploy as the main stages means those are the core stages in the entire DevOps lifecycle. Even if you see entire SDLC lifecycle, these three will become the major things, and all other stages in the DevOps lifecycle just like enhancements. In the same concept, if you talk about the computing way or cloud computing way or on-premises computing or hybrid computing, whatever computing you take, these are the three common parameters: compute, storage, and network. So on-premise computing versus cloud computing. What is this actually cloud computing? Or what is this on-premise computing? Whatever the terminology they put as computing, that means they want some list of servers, they want some kind of storage, they want some kind of connectivity in the form of network. So that is called as computing. Either you can make it as on-prem or cloud. I'm putting the things in a very simplistic way so that we can easily understand the concept. So when the kind of concept of on-premise, that means it can be our local software like a local computer or the network of computers which are purchased by big MNCs or corporate companies. And now the concept of cloud came because I don't want to purchase the entire infrastructure and I don't want to go for upgradation after 1 year or 2 years. It is costing a lot. So that is why we are renting some of our services, our computing resources that is like cloud, compute, network, storage. All these concepts we are taking on a rent basis so that I'm using the rent word as to directly understand what is the concept of cloud computing. So some of the companies will host all these compute, network, storage. We will use those all these three main components instead of purchasing the whole thing. For example, if you wanted to use your laptop today as Mac OS, tomorrow you wanted to use a Ubuntu, and day after tomorrow you want to use Windows machine. If you really want to use, you need to purchase the three laptops. That is one option. And the other option is you can rent. You can take these operating system laptops as a rent basis so that you can do your task with less cost. This is the same kind of concept will apply for on-prem and cloud. I think that is enough for explanation of about on-prem computing and cloud computing. So as I told you, cloud computing is nothing but taking the resources whichever you require, either low level resource machine, or high level resource machine, or medium level resource machine. Whichever machine you want, you can opt, or you can take from other vendor. So vendor services, whatever the vendor services you choose. So in the cloud computing platform, there are many vendors we have. So for example, the most and famous one, and the first one we can see Amazon Web Services, and the second one is Azure, and the third one you can say Digital Ocean is there, IBM Cloud is there. Like this, there are many clouds. You can take any cloud concept or any cloud company, and from that you can purchase whatever the resources you want, and perform your whatever the task or whatever the thing you wanted to, whether you wanted to start a startup, or whether you wanted to deploy an application, or whether you wanted to host a website, or if you wanted to develop some kind of software, whatever the thing you wanted to do, instead of purchasing whole infrastructure, you could simply opt for it on a rent basis or yearly payment wise. There are many options available because many vendors are there for providing the cloud computing. So that's what I said. As if you see, cloud computing is like paying the rent than buying the resources. In that way, we can take the resource for less cost. It has positives and negatives. So everything, whatever we take, it has both sides of the coin. And when you purchase a laptop, so I call that is an infrastructure, because as of now I had told you what is cloud computing and what are the main stages in that. Now I wanted to tell you some of the terminologies which are being used in the cloud computing. So when I say cloud computing or on-premise computing, I already told you that it is like a usage of resources, whatever you require to do your, whatever kind of task you wanted to do. In the same way, there are some terminologies. For example, you purchase a laptop. That means it is kind of an infrastructure you have purchased, and in that you know how to set up tools. So for example, you set up DevOps tools. That means I call that as a platform. And after that, you build a software. That means I call that as a software. So if these things performed by others and offer you as a service, that is called software as a service, or platform as a service, or infra as a service. These are the three terminologies mostly used when you come to the concept of cloud computing. That is what I named here. IaaS means infrastructure as service. Infrastructure means whatever the compute power you want or storage power you want, all those comes under the infrastructure. Software as service, as I told you, that means what are the built software, already developed software, some other people providing to you as a service. Platform means, as I told you, that you have you know how to build the DevOps tools and you set up all the environment, and that is being called as a platform. On that platform, you can develop some software. So that is why infrastructure comes as the first point. Second point comes as a platform as a service, and third one comes as a software as a service. So in the different cloud providers, you see, I have taken majority of AWS and Azure, because these are the main things which are rarely demand in the market. If you see AWS portal, aws.amazon.com is the portal, and the Azure portal.azure.com. And in the Azure, there is a separate portal called dev.azure.com. This provides DevOps concepts and DevOps tools. So that's why people call it as Azure DevOps. So in the AWS also provides a DevOps, but it doesn't have a separate portal. Within the aws.amazon.com, we can implement our DevOps concepts. But in the case of Azure, it have two separate portals. One for one portal is for providing the infra, another portal is for platform. I call it as a platform as a service because it provides the necessary tools. For example, in the DevOps, we have seen what is a code, what is build, what is deploy, and how we can implement these three sections using different tools. All those tools without any installation in our machine can be provided by Azure DevOps. That is why Azure DevOps, Azure Portal, and AWS Portal, these are all very much in demand in the market right now. Now we'll see how to create an account in the aws.amazon.com. You can navigate in your favorite browser, aws.amazon.com, and then this page will open for you. In the right side top corner, you can click on create an AWS account, and this page will open. It will ask you basic details like email ID, password, and you provide those details. So this is like AWS will provide you free tier access for 12 months. That means there are some of the resources in AWS which are available for free, and you can utilize those resources for over a year. So after that, the same resource can be bill. AWS will be provide a bill for that, and you need to pay that bill. And this is for 12 months of free service provided by AWS. And there are some services which are not free, and if you wanted to use those services which are not in the free tier list, you need to pay. And the bill generation cycle is like, it's just like how your mobile will, postpaid mobile will generate. In the same way, AWS will generate your AWS account bill. So in the contact information, you provide details, and do not select professional because we wanted to explore the cloud first, and then we wanted to see other services. So you can select personal. Professional is for MNCs. And in the next section, it will ask your debit card or credit card. So in my experience, AWS can take either debit card or credit card. But if you go to Azure, it is only taking credit card. It was not accepting debit. Not sure if anything updations happen in the Azure. So if you see, initially for verification, it will deduct 2 rupees from your bank account, whatever account you provide, either debit or credit. So, and the same 2 rupees will be credited back to your account in couple of days. And the same account can be used for deducting the generated bill. So that's why be sure and very accurate how you create the resources. If you create some resources in AWS which are not free tier, that means definitely the bill is going to start. And you need to verify your account. To verify, either you can select text message or voice call. You can provide your phone number, and then it will ask you to verify. This is how it looks when you get successful verification. And after verification, it will ask you to select the plan. So you can select basic plan, that is free, and you don't need to go for developer or business plan. You can do any kind of thing using basic plan. While selecting the plan, you can choose any one of these three, and you can choose the basic plan. That is fair enough because it has all the facilities, all the features of all the services provided by AWS, and you don't need to go for developer and business plan. And after your sign up, it will ask you to personalize your experience. Again, so here you can select your role and whatever the interested area. I have selected student and DevOps. You can choose the relevant options which are for you, and there is nothing going to affect in the services. It will be the same. And if you see the black color box here, it will ask you to sign in. Like you can click on the sign into the console after your sign up is completed, and then you will be able to see. See, this is a sign in page for AWS. You will provide your email ID, and then it will ask you to for credentials, and then you can log in. Sometimes you will not be able to see the sign into the console option. At that time, you can click on the My Account and go to AWS Management Console, and then from there you can click on the sign into the console. So this is the AWS Management Console. I'm calling a terminology called AWS, that is Amazon Web Services. Management Console is the term which gave by AWS itself. So once you log in, this is how it looks. So this is a front dashboard for AWS, and whatever the services which is going to provide, you can see AWS services, and you can search whatever service you wanted to see. We will see after the explanation of these slides. We will go to the AWS Management Console. So as I told you, either on-premise computing or cloud computing or hybrid computing, the main concepts are same. That is compute, storage, and feature network. So in the compute, if you go to AWS, it is being called as EC2. In the same way, compute in the Azure is called as virtual machines. In the storage term, in the AWS being called S3, EBS, EFS, RDS. Any one of the term can be categorized as storage. In the same way, Azure blob storage, Azure files, Azure disk and database. Network means the communication between the compute and storage and all the services provided by vendors. Vendor, what I mean is AWS or Azure. So as of now, we have seen what is cloud computing, what is cloud computing, what is on-premise computing. All these things we have seen. Now we will log into AWS Management Console. So you can log in like this: aws.amazon.com, so that it gets redirected. Since I already logged in, I guess it might. No, I didn't take my previous credentials. So I will click on sign into the console. You also can do the same thing. Click on sign into the console. This is how the AWS Management Console looks. So you can search any kind of service which are available in the drop down. So to get started with AWS, we will start with first concept called compute. Compute means it will provide the resources which you want. You can say EC2. EC2 is the first service which I wanted to consume. So I type EC2. You can type EC2 or you can select from the this button. I typed EC2 and press enter. It will show you here. It took me to the some location where a different page where it have different options. So I will go with the basic options first so that you can get started. I will click on the running instances. Since I don't have any running instances, it will not show anything. I will click on the launch instance. Instance means it's a virtual machine or a server or any, if you want a Windows server or if you want a Windows personal one or Ubuntu one or CentOS or these and all options will be provided by AWS. Or if you have custom image, it can launch an instance from that custom image. Now I will select Windows. So and click on press enter. If you see, it has different options for Microsoft Windows and different versions also available. If you wanted to purchase all these versions, it is difficult. That is why we have chosen AWS to provide these services for less cost. So if you see different options, Microsoft Windows 2016 with SQL Server and already pre-installed, and these and all options are available. So these and all not meant to use as a personal computer. These are all Windows servers. The Windows server means it will these are all high performance based one. And if you wanted to run some applications, if you wanted to host some application, all these can be done using Microsoft Windows servers. So as I told you in the previous sessions, what is Linux, what is Windows, and what is Mac, and what is other Unix operating systems. So in the first concept, and most people use Ubuntu is the machine. So I will select Ubuntu and press enter. I will take, you can even take the latest version 18.04, but I was habituated to take 16.04. So I will take 16.04 and click on select. Now, the next option, if you see, there are 7 options before you launch an instance. The first option is choosing the AMI. Second option is choosing the instance type. Third option is configure instance. Fourth option is adding the storage. Fifth option is tagging. Tagging means just adding, putting your names and tags. Sixth option is security, like who can log in, who cannot log in, who can access, who cannot access. Review means whatever the option which you have configured, you can review in this section. Yeah, if you see here, the second row, it is showing free tier eligible. That means only this particular configuration is eligible for the free tier. That means it will not be billed for 12 months of duration. You can select that. By default it's select a free tier, but if you want a higher higher efficient machine, then you can select any one of the drop down. If you scroll down bit, you can see any number of different configurations which you can choose. So what are these configurations? Let me explain you. If you see here, number of CPU is 1, amount of RAM is 1. That means number of CPU is 1, amount of RAM is 1 GB. If you don't want 1 GB, if you want 2 GB, then you can select the second option. If you want different option like 4 GB or 8 GB or 16 GB, see the higher end servers also can be provided by AWS. It's up to you which one you want. But if you don't select from the free tier list, you might need to pay. Let's go to the next section. And all these things, VPC and many other some concepts are there. I will explain all these things later because I want you to directly start doing something in the AWS so that you get habituated. Once you get habituated, I will explain the different features of AWS, different layers of AWS. So now I will show you number of instances. That means I will select a one because I only want one. That is sufficient for now. I will select, click on next. Now you can see add storage, how much space I want. So if you see in your personal computers, when you purchase a computer, it has some specifications. What is the RAM, what is the CPU, what is the frequency, and then what is the hard disk capacity. In the similar way, it is asking how much capacity you need. For now, I can adjust with 8 GB. That is more than enough because we are not doing anything. I click on next. So in this option, it is asking to tag your instance. Instance means you either it's a server. So I will click here. I will add a name tag. That means this is Ubuntu 16 machine. I'm going to add. So this is a Linux machine. I'll click next. Now security, how you wanted to access this created Ubuntu machine. So that's what this security group defines. I'll click and create, it's already create new security group is selected. Now I will type Linux security group. You can mention any name which you know, which are convenient. I will select like this so that the security group can be easily identified. If you say SSH, since this is a Linux one, by default SSH port 22 is added, and in the source means I will select anywhere because anywhere and everywhere this machine can be accessed. So the different security protocols we will discuss in some other sessions. And in the drop down, I will select all traffic, and all traffic can be from not from IAP, from anywhere. Click on review and launch. This is the review section. What and all you have selected will come here. I will click on launch. Now to access the created instance, it will ask you to select the key pair. Key pair means if you lost this key pair, then you will not be able to log into the respective EC2 instance. So you must be careful with this EC2 key pair. Now I don't since I don't have an existing key pair, I will select create a new key pair, and I will name that key pair as Bhanu, and you can name any way, whichever way you want. So Bhanu key pair, and click on download key pair. Once you download only, it will select you to an option to click on launch instances. Now the instance is getting launched. You can see your instance is now launching. I will scroll down. I will click on view instances. Now I can see there is a one instance that is Ubuntu 1, and its a version is 16, and it is the instance state is pending. Now it is getting launched. I will click on refresh. See, I am able to launch an instance in the AWS machine. The instance type is T2 micro. T2 micro is the instance type which is available for the free tier, and you can see other details like instance ID. Now finally we are able to create a instance in the cloud. So this Ubuntu machine we are able to create. Now how we can connect to this Ubuntu machines? You can simply click on connect here, and then you can see an example connectivity command he has given. Let's copy the command as it is. There are a couple of ways you can connect, but I will show you the easiest way. Click on the start button and search for git bash. If you don't have already git bash installed in your machine, please install it from the internet. And so once you open the git bash, you type cd command so that it will navigate to your profile. You can type pwd, that's up to you. And then since I have downloaded my key pair in the download section, I will navigate to download sections. So I want to validate if my key pair is already there in the download section or not. See, I will check like this, key hyphen pair. See, the bono hyphen key hyphen pair.pm file is already existing in the download section. Now I will copy the command which is already given in the AWS, and I will paste it in the git bash section and press enter. So you can see What it is asking, are you sure you wanted to continue connecting? I will say yes and press enter. Now you can see I logged into as a user called Ubuntu, and I logged into a server with IP address 172.31.38.90. This is how you can create your AWS account, and this is how you can launch a your Linux based Ubuntu instance in the AWS. So not only Linux account, you can also launch any kind of service, either a database or a Windows server or any other service which was provided by AWS. So as of now, we have seen how to launch a Ubuntu instance and how to log into that. Now I will show you how to terminate the instance which we have created. Let me close this pop-up, and you go to the actions, click on instance state, go, and you can do couple of options. Either you can stop the instance so that the instance cannot be built for you. If you wanted to reboot, you can even reboot this machine, or you can terminate. Because I don't have any work or any task to perform on this thing, I'll click on terminate. Now it is going to be terminated within few seconds. So if you click on terminate means all of the activity, whatever you are performed on this thing will be shut down. So any data, if you wanted to store it as a persistent, then you need to take a backup before you terminate the instance. Terminating means everything destroying. That means whatever the CPU, whatever the RAM, whatever the storage it has provided, everything will be deleted after the termination. But if you stop or if you reboot, these things will not be performed.